this evening. I apologize if you've been waiting for us. We've had several, not even one technical difficulty. I'd probably say we're up to technical difficulty number 7, I reckon, off the top of my head. But there we go. This is what happens, Kev?
Exactly. It's Prime Day. It's exciting. I do apologize, guys. So I believe that we are live now. We are public. So if you guys can see and hear us in the chat, please say hello. We do apologize, but looking forward to another episode of the Reseller Show on Prime Day 2019.
Absolutely. Happy Prime Day, one and all. Hope everyone's had a good day so far. So let's excuse me, let's get into it, shall we? Let's bring up the live stream here so we can see who's making their way in this evening. Tim's logged in. How you doing, Tim? Good to see you, sir. Mandy's in. How you doing, Mandy? Thanks for your patience. I appreciate you. Sean's in, live from a car park somewhere near you, I'm pretty sure. And FBA UK as well. Luke's in. How you doing, Luke? Good to see you. Darren as well. How you doing, Darren? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Simon's in. Hooray! We made it. We're finally on air.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Never mind. We made it.
So good to see you guys.
Absolutely.
So good to see you. Hope you guys have had an amazing start to the week. Whatever you're doing, it's Prime Day. Let us know how Prime Day's been for you. Has it been? Have you seen some increase in sales? Have you not seen any increase in sales? Looking forward to catching up for another episode of. This is my favorite day of the week.
Absolutely.
I love Mondays.
That's awesome. Sean's been on the go already. He's been very productive in the time it's taken us to get live on air. He's already done his live stream for this week. I didn't even have to ask him. He's already been on the live stream. I'm impressed with your new purchase, by the way, Sean. I like your van. I saw that in last week's live stream. You're definitely going to be bringing in the money. If you manage to fill that up every time, then you're doing really well. So Sean's been in a supermarket somewhere doing his usual retail arbitrage and filling his van up. So good to see that. Good to see you live streaming as always, Sean. Thanks for your interaction. It's always entertaining to see you. Where he's never in the same place twice, Sean. He's never in the same place twice.
No,
he doesn't hang around.
No, he absolutely loves it, and I love it too, Sean. You absolutely take massive action every single day. I love it. So, how's your day been, Andy? Have you had a good day?
Yeah, it's been good. It's not been too bad at all, actually. I have to say the weather's been on our side again. It's been a lovely sunny day. In fact, it's just about to shine right in my eyes. I might have to pull the curtain over a little bit. But yeah, it's been a good day, productive, got loads of work done, which is always a good sign for me. If I can get everything I want done, completed for the day, then it's a big win, because usually I get 3/4 of the way through my list and there's always those few things. When you make a list, it's very difficult to get everything done that you write the list for. But I guess that's the whole point of lists. You try and be as optimistic as you can about when you want to get done. If you can get anywhere past 3/4 on the list, I think is a good day. So had a very productive day. So good start to the week. Hopefully the momentum will continue for the rest of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, myself, I usually do my planning on a Sunday evening for the week ahead. Mm-hmm. But this past weekend, I had several events. I had the event on Saturday, and then I had the event on Sunday, where I met some awesome guys that travelled up to the warehouse, which was fantastic. Darren was one of them. Darren was here. It was fantastic to meet Darren for the first time. Awesome. And but it's had a bit of a knock-on effect to my week. So I just went home, no planning or anything. So I've just been catching up today. It's been all steam ahead.
Excellent. That sounds good. Sounds like you guys had a great time up there. There was a lot of good feedback, certainly. Anyway, so I'm sure you guys got a lot of benefit from it. So that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to Jerry, for example. I was talking. Jerry's potentially coming to your conference.
Yes.
So it'd be great to see Jerry. He travelled from Scotland. It took him 7 hours to get here. Wow. 7 hours here, 7 hours back, through trains and everything. So that was amazing commitment. And he may be coming to your conference, which is 2 weeks now, Andy, is it?
Yeah, it's about that. Actually, it's not far away at all. So yes, I did hear, I did see a post from Jerry saying that he's looking forward to coming. So that's great news. I enjoyed meeting Jerry at one of your events last year. Was it probably last year now? And yeah, he's a great guy, and looking forward to catching up with him. So that'd be good to see him there. Hope he can make it. That's a long trip, even further down south if he's coming from Scotland. That's a hell of a trip down to London. But yeah, be a pleasure to see him if he can make it. So yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely.
Not long now, yeah, a couple of weeks, something like that. So if you are interested in coming, I've actually kept the early bird tickets available, but they're not going to be available for the entire duration. So if you still want to come, ukresellerconference.com is the URL. Check it out. Still some tickets left, and you can join us in London on the 27th of July. Kev will be there. I'll be there. Several other amazing speakers that are there to help you with your Amazon business and get the most out of your business and grow it as big as you can. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, sorry, I saw a comment on you basically put a comment out on the Reseller Show Facebook group. If you're not a member of the in the Reseller Show Facebook group, please invite yourself. It's a free group that you can join. But on the post that Andy just put just recently, we had Lloyd Jones. So if you're watching this back, Lloyd, you've just made me chuckle. He basically said he really wanted to see this week's show to make sure that I was still around, because last week I was on the mini trampoline, because I've got a trampoline in the warehouse, but I was right next to the edge. So he wanted to check that I didn't fall off and ended up on the warehouse floor. So I'm okay. I'm okay, Lloyd. I'm not in a full body cast. I'm fine.
That's what you call adrenaline sports. That is using the mini trampoline on the edge of the balcony. That's high adrenaline sports.
Absolutely.
Awesome stuff.
But yeah, I've got some questions and things for this week, have we, Andy?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of news here. I've whilst we were trying to get the technical difficulties going, I had a quick look. There's obviously the news is full of Prime Day, as you would expect for Amazon at the moment. That's the main news, really, about obviously Amazon make sure that the news channels are absolutely full of Prime Day information. But it does seem that there are a lot of Amazon workers that aren't so pleased about Prime Day, and they've used Prime Day as an opportunity to go on strike and actually air their views about the working environment in Amazon in the US, in Germany, and apparently there are week-long protests planned in the UK as well. And yeah, it's we all know that obviously it's a massive system. It's a huge company to work with, and I have heard on a few occasions that it is quite an intensive environment to work in, shall we say. But one of the workers that was interviewed, I think, said that they have to, where was that then? I think they have to pick an item. He's a picker of the items and put it into the system. He has to pick an item every 8 seconds for a 10-hour work day.
Wow.
Something like 332 items per hour for 10 hours a day. That's pretty intensive.
Wow, that is intensive.
Yeah.
That is intensive. Have you ever been for a tour around a fulfillment center, Andy?
I've not done that. No, I see they've been doing that in Manchester. That looks quite good fun. I'd quite like to do that sometime. Maybe I should have a look and see if there's one near me going on. That'd be quite interesting to see. I've seen there was a documentary on, I think on BBC a year or so, 18 months ago, and they had a look inside one of those factories, but it'd be quite interesting to actually see the whole thing in real life, see how it's working. But it seems fascinating.
Yeah, I'm hopefully going to take the girls and take the team at some point, because there's one in Doncaster, which is not too far away from me, just to check it out. But it'd be fascinating to see how the scale of the warehouses, because I mean I drive past them quite a lot on the motorway, and the size of them is pretty staggering. It's amazing. So could you imagine being inside, seeing all the automation, and then if you've got guys that are having to pick every 8 seconds and they're doing like hundreds every hour, I mean, it's crazy.
I think I barely manage an hour, to be honest with you. I mean, you'd literally, if you're doing something that intensive, you wouldn't have any time to stop, would you? I mean, what happens when you need a wee? Is there a special button that you can press to say, I need a wee? Can I stop for a moment? Or do they say, it's not your scheduled toilet break. You have to carry on for another 3 hours.
I know. It's but it does make you think though, like how intense it must, and it shows like for where they've got to. You know, you can't be having slack days. It's just
Yeah.
not possible. You know,
Yep.
he's the story of Amazon and Jeff Bezos is amazing. And talking of news, there was an article that I read earlier. I don't know whether you've seen it. It was and I'll share it in the chat as well. It was basically it was actually on the 5th of July. It was Amazon at 25. Okay, so they're 25 years old now, right? So it says the story of a giant, and some of these numbers that they were talking about is just amazing. Like for example, I'm just talking to you guys now instead of Andy's gone.
Sorry, I was just closing my curtains.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I was just saying some of these. I'll put a post out to this BBC website out on the chat. I'll do it in the group. But it was sort of saying that like Amazon's online sales in 2018 was $234 billion, which is ridiculous. It's just staggering amount. They get 199 million average monthly visitors to their website, which is crazy amount, and they've got 100 million Prime subscribers. Like that is
Million.
What's it now for a Prime membership? Is it £90 a year or something?
Probably something like that.
So-
Sounds familiar.
so-
It was 70, but it's gone up, hasn't it?
Yeah, maybe something like that. So that's you're talking how much money is that just annually just coming in? It's amazing.
Somewhere in the region of lots, I think, is the technical is the technical term. £79 from Simon. I knew Simon would know it. I was going to say Simon probably knows it, but there we go. £79 for Prime. So yeah, it's quite a lot of money incoming from their side of things, isn't it? It's just staggering. But the thing is, it's doing more than just everyone paying £79 each. What it does is then everyone feels almost obligated to get their money's worth. And so they're going to spend even more money with Prime. And whenever they need to buy anything, let me get onto Amazon and buy it on Amazon. I want to get my Prime subscriptions worth and want to get my next day free delivery. So it's genius as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely genius.
It really is. It really is. And when you think of I've got great graphs on here, and that's why I'll share this link with you guys. But in 2012, their revenue was around 50 billion, which is a lot. But then 2018 then was 234 billion, and they're forecasted in the next sort of year to surpass 300 billion. So the trend is exponentially growing.
Yeah.
It's stunning, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to get your head around the numbers, really, isn't it? I mean, just crazy. I wouldn't like to be the accountant. Can you imagine Amazon's accountant? That'd be a bit of a head scratcher, wouldn't it?
Yeah, could you imagine how many subsidiaries and everything they've got? They've got Amazon Inc. or whatever you call it, Amazon, and then they've got. I couldn't even imagine what it looks like at that sort of level.
It'd be interesting to know whether they have a whole massive in-house team of accountants or whether they sub it out to a big commercial sort of set of accountants. But you've got to have a pretty big setup, haven't you, to deal with a company like that, because God knows how you keep track of everything across the different countries, cross-border tax and all of that sort of fun and games and how that's all dealt with. It's you have to have some pretty clever guys to keep that in order, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, just think of their expenses. They've got 500,000 employees. How much is that coming out every single month? It's pretty intense.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Just the sheer scale of it. I can only imagine that you just you bring in new things to scale as you do. Obviously, they've got to that stage from having a lot less people to having that many. So I guess you introduce new systems as you go along. But yeah, you've got to have some pretty decent a pretty decent bunch of organising and decent software to keep track of everything and make sure everything's reading right. But yeah, stock check. You mentioned doing a stock check. Right, guys, we're not going to trade on Amazon today. We're going to do a stock check. Ready? Right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've lost count. Hold on. 1. It'll take a little while.
It's crazy numbers.
Oh, that tickled me. Sorry, I'm entertaining myself anyway. I don't know if anyone else finds my sense of humour amusing, but I'm enjoying myself anyway. Should we go to some questions then, Mr. Blackburn? We've got 1 or 2, haven't we? Should we go and have a crack at that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look on the group. So there was a Chris sent a question earlier on Wednesday. He said, "Who uses Complete Savings for cashback?"
Yeah, there's a few. I don't use them actually. I must admit, I had a look after Chris said that, and they look pretty good. Actually, I think I might have to pay attention to that because, yes, we use other sites, but I've not used Complete Savings. It's a new one on me, so thanks, Chris, for bringing that one up. It's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you guys in the chat that's not aware of that, so yeah, check it out. Although Sean just says Complete Savings taking ages to pay at the minute.
All right, good to know.
Not sure, but then Luke followed saying, "Love Complete Savings, 10% on everything."
Yeah, absolutely. Make the most of that. That's all good. All the things you can stack up, the better, isn't it? Really, that's all good because you've got other cashback sites like Top Cashback and those sort of sites are handy to make use of when you're doing online arbitrage. But the more you've got, the merrier, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
Danny says Complete Savings did take a while, but then when it hits, it's all worth it. Okay. £600 coming back tomorrow. Whoop! That's pretty decent, Danny. Nice one.
Outstanding.
Okay. Yeah, nice. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, that's well worth it. Thanks, Chris, for mentioning that. If you don't know it, then check out Complete Savings. Well worth getting an additional 10% off your orders. You're making them anyway. All those things add up. So that's good stuff. And friend of the show, John Hill, he had some questions for us this evening. Thanks, John, for your contribution. He's usually in, actually. I haven't seen his name come up yet in the chat, but maybe he's watching and just lurking this evening. But John, if you're watching this back later, we can give you some answers to these questions he's got here. Do you source products if Amazon is also the seller? And number 2, do Amazon regularly share the buy box? And number 3, is there a way to tell from Keeper whether sales are Amazon's or third-party sellers? So, good bunch of questions. Yes, I thought you might be lurking, John. Yeah, is
he in?
He's in. He's in the background lurking. Good to see you, John.
Yeah, great questions. It's fantastic questions.
Yeah.
So, number 1, do you source products if Amazon is also the seller? So, the main tool that we need is Keeper in this scenario. Okay, so for you guys that may be watching this and you're not familiar with Keeper and things, so Keeper just allows us to see lots and lots of information about every product on Amazon. And if, for example, Amazon is a seller, it will have usually it's in orange, and you'll just see Amazon there as a seller. And in terms of the buy boxes, there's like a little pink dot that you see on the Keeper graph. And if you hover over that dot, it will say who's got that buy box. So if it's, let's say, Amazon, it will say buy box held by Amazon. If it's third party, it will say buy box by third party. And you can actually see then if Amazon are on a listing and there's other sellers, third-party sellers, you can just hover over and just see whether there's a history of Amazon sharing the buy box, or is it only just been Amazon that's on the buy box, or whatever the case may be. So one thing that I usually do say is try to avoid Amazon. That's one of the things that I genuinely did say for sort of brand new sellers and things, because there's lots of products to find without having the headache of thinking whether are Amazon going to share this buy box, and then you're looking on Keeper to see whether there's history of them sharing, and then you put some of your hard-earned money into products, and then if you're maybe tight with money, you don't want to then have money stuck there with Amazon, and then if Amazon come in and they tank the price and they now have got thousands of stock. So my general rule is try to avoid them, really. But that's not to say that you can't compete with them. Like I say, a little bit more advanced. If you do look and you can see that they have been sharing the buy box, if the margins make sense for you, a lot of the times maybe Amazon are selling so low that we can't compete with them. But yeah, that's pretty much. I think that pretty much wraps it all up. Does it, Andy?
Yeah.
Have I missed anything there?
No, that's pretty much right, Kev, to be honest with you. The underlying thing with Amazon is you just don't know. That is the issue. Will they share their buy box? Yeah, sometimes. Other times, no. And so if you're buying a product, you think, okay, I can get this for a good price, a bit of profit. Amazon's on the item. You buy it, you ship it in, and they just don't want to share it with you. They can undercut you almost always to a fraction of what you can sell it for. They may share it with you for 8 months and be quite happy, or even let you undercut them and leave you alone, and out of nowhere decide to just slash the price, not only go underneath you, but cut the price in half. They're so unpredictable. It is, it's very difficult. That's what I would say. I like to deal with data and facts and things that I can hang my hat on. And if Amazon are on their listing, there's no telling what's going to happen. You can make some money, you might not make some money. So yes, pretty much what Kev was saying. There are plenty of other listings. So if you want to free up your buying budget and make sure you can get in and out without too much hassle, then yes, I would try and avoid them. It doesn't mean you can't. I share listings with Amazon sometimes, but not through choice through necessity, because that's just the way it's happened. Maybe they come in later after they've been out of stock for a long time, and I can make it happen. Other times they just it's a waste of time. So yeah, avoid them if you can is probably the best way to go with that. Unless you get a bit of experience and you've got the buying budget, you want to take a chance because you think you can get it away, fair enough. But just be warned that you might spend 3 to 6 months getting nowhere and might think, oh, just cut your costs, try and undercut them if you can. If you can, great, get your money out, or you might have to just bring them back and sell them on eBay or something. So you've always got to be prepared for something like that to happen. So best.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially there's so many products out there that you could source and take advantage of in a part of your business without having to deal with all that headache. And it's one of our sourcing criteria. We're always looking, has there been any history of Amazon selling that item? There are some scenarios where maybe, I don't know, they came in for maybe a week and then they disappeared. Then maybe you would then consider that. But sometimes you'll see them come in and out all the time, but you just never know. When they come in, they could just be in now indefinitely for the next sort of 2 years, 3 years. Yeah. So it's just so difficult to really, like Andy says, we're dealing with facts. If you want to minimize the risk of you losing money or being stuck with money in stock, then just just look for the products that are not related with Amazon, and then you're going to have much better chance.
Yeah. You're basically you're relying on a little bit of chance and luck to make your money if you dice with Amazon, so to speak. So if you want to try and if you want to take the luck out of the equation, take Amazon out of the equation as far as I'm concerned. But I hope that helps you out, Joe. Actually, he says, I've been avoiding them like the plague to date. Will continue to do so, guys. Yeah. Part of your question was just, you were saying, weren't you, that you currently avoid them, but whether you're wondering whether you're missing out. It's probably good to question these things sometimes and just re-examine things. Probably a good idea. But yes, your first instincts were correct. Avoid them, and you won't go far wrong, John. So, yeah, that's
great questions, though. Great questions.
Yeah. Definitely. Do we have any more questions, guys, in the live chat? Have you got anything that's come up in the last week that you were thinking whether you might be able to ask us here on the Reseller Show. We're happy to take any questions from the audience. Sean, have you managed to get home yet, or are you still in the car park? Amazon's just for UK sales. I can still sell in Europe when Amazon starts taking over. Just means my sales slow down. Not sure what that means, Sean. Just for UK sales.
Here's something that has come about these last couple of weeks, Andy. I don't know whether you've heard much of this. There was a few guys in the old Facebook groups mentioning scenarios of getting complaints of used sold as new. Have you seen much of that going on the groups? There was like Colin, for example. He's in the online arbitrage and wholesale arbitrage master group, and he was sort of saying that he got up the other day and he had a complaint saying from a customer saying that they've purchased something and the condition is it's used sold as new. I'm not entirely sure what Amazon are doing at this moment in time. They do appear to be doing some things in the last sort of few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, when it comes to performance notifications, whether that is restrictions, whether it is used sold as new. Have you seen anything? Have you ever come across that? Have you ever had a complaint in your Amazon business of anybody complaining?
Well, I've had plenty of people complaining. That goes for the territory, I think. And you sort of look at each one as you go and try and do your best to help them. And there's always something you can do to sort them out. But I must admit, I haven't had any issues with people declaring things actually used sold as new. I've not had that. Luke says I got my used sold as new item back. It hadn't even been opened. So what's that all about? I don't understand how you, if you get a complaint and then you say, okay, refund, give it to me back, you get it sent back and it hasn't even been opened. How on earth is that then used? I don't get it.
That's what makes me think that Amazon are doing they've been doing something, and I don't fully understand what they've been doing. But Luke got the same scenario. Fortunately, he's got his sorted, which is great news. But it's not great if Amazon are asking for plans of action. I guess the one thing that we would say is the importance of documentation in this scenario. You're going to need to prove that if you do have a scenario where somebody complains that you're selling something as new, but they're saying it's used, then your documentation is key in that scenario. That you can prove that I've got this invoice and here it is. This is a brand new item. So that's key. I'm not really. It might be a good question for. I'm not sure whether Luke Pastor's in the chat right tonight, but I always wondered what the book guys do. Do they ever have any? I suppose that you should never list a book as new if you're getting it from a charity store, etc.
I think the general advice with books, Kev, is sort of, if in doubt, go a level below, because you've got all these different levels. You've got used, good, acceptable, very good, and as new. So yes, if you always want to be erring on the side of caution, because your opinion may not be the same as the person who's buying it opinion. So if you think, it looks pretty good to me, I'd say it's very good. But if there might be a small crease on the back or just something that's not quite right, it's like, you know what, I'm going to put it in as good because I'm not 100%. Someone else might think that's not very good. And then you get a bad, feedback as a result of that. So general advice for books is if you're not sure, just go one down and then you're going to protect yourself. But we've got some feedback actually from Luke here. He said, I had to do an action plan to reinstate the listing after the sold as new complaint. Sean has also had the same issue, got the toy back, and it's still new. So there's obviously some issues with this procedure. They're obviously flagging items that there's just nothing wrong with it. But I guess if it's just a customer-initiated thing for whatever reason, maybe they just wanted a refund and randomly chose a reason to refund it rather than actually taking the time to say, I just don't want it. I don't know. It seems very strange.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange that there was all... there was a lot of if it was just a random person like Colin, it happened to Colin, I would understand. But the fact that there was, the Sean, there was the two Lukes, there was Colin, there's definitely been something that's sort of been going on, which is bizarre. So whether, like you mentioned, I think Amazon this year they've done a lot of work on the performance notification side, the account health side, so everything looks different on your Seller Central account. So whether they're maybe sort of working out their systems on the back end, like you say, maybe a customer just for their return. I can't remember the process of a customer return. I'll pay more attention next time if I ever return something back to Amazon, because when you do return something, you've got to give a reason for it, don't you? Like maybe incorrectly ordered, it might be not as described, or it might be whatever the reasons are. And then if there is that selection as, condition, questioning condition, I don't know what the terminology would be, but if somebody does that, would you reckon it would be an automated thing where it automatically flags up in your account? It probably would do, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I imagine so. If that was an option and they could select it and they just randomly said it, as you say, some people feel like they need to give a reason, whereas Amazon will give you your money back regardless. So it really isn't a problem. But some people, out of every, I don't know, if 60 or 100 people, someone feels like they need to just make something up to get their money back. Maybe if that's an option they can tick, that's what's happening every now and again, and that automatically initiates that flag to your resale account, just to say someone's saying you're selling shit not as it's described. What are you going to do about it? Blah 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 blah. But there should be some appeals process to say, well, here's the item, it's come back. Here's the packing slip. That's the item. Here's a picture. It's still in the original packaging. You should be able to do something about that. But it does seem like you're in a bit of a hiding to nothing, because Sean was saying that a Disney receipt wasn't enough to take the the flag off the profile. So it's just, if you've not got an invoice, then you're up the creek. So yeah, it is getting a little bit more like that. So the key thing is request invoices. That's it. Request your invoices. Yeah, and good lesson there.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. Who knows what's going on at the minute? We're just going to keep. This is why I like doing the Reseller Show. This is why I like being a part of the Facebook groups, just because you get a bit of an idea of is it sort of isolated incidents, or is this more of a trend that's coming about? And the fact that there's a few of us that have experienced this. Maybe Amazon are just tightening up at this part of the year, knowing that we're going to go into the busiest time of the year. Who knows?
Yeah, Noha has actually nearly did it. Actually mentioned something that's quite interesting. Good evening, Noha. She's just joined us and said, if there's a problem with the product or delivery, then you get a full refund. If there's nothing wrong with it and you've just changed your mind, Amazon will keep £3.99 and not give you a full refund. So maybe that's what people are doing. Maybe people are fictitiously saying there's something wrong with it because they want to get a full refund, and maybe they know that they're not going to get full money unless unless there's a problem with it. If they say there's a problem, they get it back. Amazon then don't question that. They obviously don't have the system in place to actually double check that when it's coming back. And if that's the case, it's the good old reseller that actually has to carry the can for that one. But I would say that's all you can do is keep your invoice. Your invoice is the only backup plan, isn't it? In terms of being able to get out of it.
Yeah, and it's part and parcel of the business that we're in. The reality is, unfortunately, there are going to be customers out there that you may sell to that try to take advantage. I can't tell you how many times where I'll give you some scenarios. We've sold some I don't know, like some Smarties or something, and the Smarties have been returned without the Smarties in them. It's been eaten. Or we had a scenario where I can't remember what it was. There was a toy I think it was a teddy bear, and it had a tag on it. Do you know, like the tag that's on like soft teddy bears and things? We got the tag back, but not the teddy bear. You know, these unfortunately customers. There's going to be some customers that are just like that. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. And the reality is, the more you build your business, the more products you got for sale, the bigger you become. You can imagine you're going to have all sorts of scenarios coming about. Could you imagine like Tesco, how much waste and things that they have? Could you imagine Disney, how much waste, return, everything they have? It's just part and parcel of the business model, and you just got to develop your systems really just to look after that waste as well.
Yeah.
If it means, for example, sorry, Andy, if it means, for example, returning them back to you to inspect them, and if they're good again, get them shipped back. Sometimes what we'll do as well is, if, for example, an item comes back and it's the packaging is clearly been damaged, like, you know, we know we sent it new, but it comes back after it's been returned by a customer or whatever, and it's been damaged, we'll put a case into Amazon saying, well, it could have been UPS at fault, it could have been the courier at fault, or we'll argue saying we shipped it as new. And then there's definitely scenarios where they'll just refund you for it. Mm-hmm. So I would just question everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, having a solid procedure for dealing with that is definitely going to be the way to go. As Luke's in, evening Luke, as Luke says, you know, it's just part of the process. So take the emotion out of it. Don't take it personally. You're always going to get refunds. You're always going to get idiot customers that are, you know, trying to pull one over on you. It is what it is. So just take the emotion out of it and have a solid you know, process in place, so you can say, okay, this has happened. I know that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to get my invoice. I'm going to raise a claim with Amazon. I'm going to do what I can. Maybe only, you know, 3 out of 10 times they go your way, but you know, if you do it as a procedure, then you're going to minimize those issues and those losses. So yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah, and ultimately we are Amazon is focused on the customer. Amazon, they want to keep the customer happy. So if they use that to their advantage to say, it's not the right product, and all they want is their money back. They don't, you know, all they want is their money back, and they don't want to tell Amazon they've incorrectly ordered it or whatever. They're just going to say, want is described, take it back, I want my money back. So they're taking advantage of knowing that Amazon, they care about their customer. But then that's at our expense, unfortunately. Just, it's a shame, but it's the world we live in.
Yeah, it's a factor of it. Anything that deals with the public, deals with customers in this way, you're going to expect that most people are going to be fine and fair and reasonable, but there will be a percentage of less than nice people that will do what they can to get some money out of you, or do what they can to, you know, play the system, or just misunderstand how things work. There's always going to be that. And so you have to be ready to do what you can to offset that. And making sure your invoices are in place is a great way to make a start on that, Kev, for sure.
Yeah, but I also think there's also another side to this, and Noha, she's actually made a really good point here. Maybe sometimes customers don't know that they could potentially get a seller in trouble by selecting a scenario where, you know, if a customer says this is being used and it's supposed to be new, the customer may not even know that is going to cause an issue for the seller. So it's the same with like customer feedback or seller feedback and things. I sometimes get the impression that customers don't realize what it could do to your account. So do you feel like I'd be interested to get your opinion on this, Andy. Do you feel like Amazon need to do a little bit more of educating customers on what things mean when they click specific buttons and things on their account?
Yeah, I definitely do. I'm sure they don't realize what implications it has, Kev, and half the time, I'm sure they don't even realize they're dealing with a third party seller. It's coming as Amazon packaging. They click buy it now on Amazon. And, I'm sure a large percentage of people don't even know. When I'm just chatting to people, and people are, maybe at a party or something, someone's curious about what you do and you explain what they do, they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't even realize that was a thing. I thought you just buy it. I thought it was just Amazon and that's it. So yeah, there's probably a lot of your stuff that haven't even come from Amazon, that, and they don't even realize they've got a Prime account, comes in an Amazon box, and thank you very much, it's all good. So definitely, I think there's probably a lot of people that don't realize they're causing issues and are randomly don't understand the options. Maybe selecting something at random purely hits the wrong one, and then it gives you a headache. And yeah, so making that more clear and giving just maybe less options and more clearer options would probably help a great deal. And then spell it out and make sure it's very obvious when you're, choosing something that's going to be, a problem for the reseller. You really want, and also maybe at least having an appeals process in place where you can quite easily say, no, I think they've got it wrong, because Amazon, as you say, are always going to take the customer's side, but they're not challenging it. At no point is there anywhere in place for them to say, oh, you're right, it's the customer's got a problem. So what they're actually doing is just letting you go, and whatever happens, happens. And, if you were to actually challenge Amazon and say, what happens if a customer incorrectly labels something? Nothing is the answer. It comes back, you get the hit. And you might even get some sort of strike on your account as a result. And so there should be a way of saying this is not correct, sending in a picture and just saying double checked it, it's fine, customer mistake, and then they'll take it off your account and say, yep, fair enough, we agree, we're going to take that off your account, and you move on. There should be a simple and clear way just to counteract that. Either say, yep, our fault, we made a mistake, fine, or no, not our fault, but there's nothing in place there. So I definitely think that could be done better.
Yeah, and I think fundamentally it comes back to gathering as much evidence for yourself as possible. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where it's like, should you really be taking photos of everything? Like, one, you should collect all the documentation, obviously, right? That's just a must. You should absolutely keep on top of all your documentation. But then you start thinking to yourself, should I be collecting, as many photos as I can of the products that I'm sending? So one of the things that we were literally talking about in the warehouse over the past sort of week or so, for like the prep service clients, for example, is taking videos of the shipments as we're actually doing the shipments, so we can then send those videos to the prep service, one of our partners, to say this has been the shipment. So there's the video that went with that shipment, so you can see that the item is good, you can see the box is gone, and then if something does happen, Amazon we could then send that to Amazon and say, look, we've shipped it and it's brand new. There was nothing wrong with it. But I think that's maybe just the way we're heading. Just collect as much information as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. If there could be something simple and really easy to get a picture of everything as and when it's processed would be a really useful tool. Some sort of way of just a flash as it goes through the process to document every single thing. But yeah, anything that you've got like that is gonna make your case a lot stronger at that stage. So yeah, interesting. Something we might have to think on a little bit about. But yeah, they could definitely make our lives easier. But if anyone's going to lose out as a result, it's almost always going to be us as resellers, and that is just the way it is. It's the way Amazon's created its whole process, and at the moment we just have to take that on as part of doing business on Amazon, and that's all we can do right now. But yeah, we'll see how it goes in the future. Hopefully it will evolve and we'll get a better deal out of it.
Yeah, Sean says, is it hot in that warehouse, Kev? Sun is lovely today in Grantham. Sean, I've just turned the light off because it's boiling in here. It is so hot in this warehouse. I've got a fan. I'm going to put that fan on, and hopefully it's not too loud.
I'm sure it'll be all right. Yeah, it's pretty warm actually. It just got a bit overcast just before I came into the office to do this show, and the sun has just come straight out from behind the clouds, and I had to shut the curtains myself because it was glaring straight in and hitting the monitor screens and going straight in my eyes. So I was doing this a little bit. I couldn't see what was going on.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, that's
it's so hot. It's this warehouse. It's one of those things where in the winter it is so cold. I mean, do you remember in November? Was it? I can't remember whether it was cold or hot then or
yeah, it was
what. But
cold. Yeah.
it was. It gets so cold in the winter, and then in the summer it just gets so hot. It's just
Yeah.
champagne problems.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a picture of us, me, you, and Matt upstairs, actually, on the mezzanine there from that day. Good memories. All of us in the biggest, thickest jackets you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
My full winter Barber jacket, because it was, yes, it was parky to say the least. But yeah, that is the problem with commercial warehouses. They're not designed for comfort, more for productivity, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Hit that like button, people. That was from Sean.
Yeah, Sean said it. We didn't say it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate if you guys give us any thumbs ups or thumbs downs. You know, at the end of the day,
Whatever you want.
we just we just like to have some feedback, whether this is good, whether it's not good, whatever works for you guys. If you're listening back on the podcast, we've got the ability to leave a review. If you're interested in leaving us a review on the podcast, we will definitely read every review, and we really appreciate your feedback, guys.
Absolutely. It's all appreciated, and you guys in the chat, as we say every week, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Yeah, Jerry says you must have a barbecue at the warehouse next summer. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sell a barbecue. Sounds good.
I will definitely do that, because yesterday we ended up sitting outside, Andy, because it started to get quite hot in here. We thought, right, let's go sit outside in the sun. And I thought to myself, I got home last night and I was saying to Kylie, I said, do you know what? This might be an opportunity to put a barbecue on and sell some hot dogs. Make some money.
Yeah, get an ice cream van and all sorts. Yeah,
Yeah, get an ice cream van. Yeah, definitely.
Bouncy
No,
castle.
only kidding. Only kidding. It'd be part and parcel of the day, Jerry. But yeah, that'd be fab though. Could you imagine
Yeah.
a big, maybe a reseller show, summer barbecue at the warehouse? Why not?
Sounds
2020.
good.
That's going to come.
Sounds good. Let's make it happen. Give me an excuse to go back to the Forest Pines. Actually, that's quite a nice place. It'd be good. It'd be good fun.
It's lovely there. Went for a meal there on Friday night for
did
Gareth's
you?
birthday. It was great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where you went. Oh, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
saw his post on Instagram. I did wonder where you went. Oh, yes, yeah, it's a nice place, a lovely pool. It's got a lovely big pool in there. So yeah, gets my seal of approval. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, anyone has any last questions before we wrap it up for this evening? We're getting on towards the hour mark, so we're going to push off and let you get back to your evenings. But any last questions before we wrap up? Otherwise, we're gonna shoot off. But yeah, thanks as always for hanging out with us.
Yeah, just it's really, really. I absolutely love the fact that we can hang out like this, because it's an amazing time that we live in, that we've got the likes of YouTube, and we can hang out and we can get together as resellers, because we're all on this journey together. So it's been fantastic as always, we've got so many regulars now. It's fantastic, from Tim, Mandy, Sean, Luke. It's getting to the point where we wouldn't even be able to name everybody. It's amazing. Simon's.
Yeah, many Simons. We're already struggling for Luke's, to be honest with you. We're oversaturated with Luke's. I think you're going to have to take it in turns, guys. You're going to have to sort out who comes each week.
Yeah. Jonathan, Noah. It's great. It's just fantastic. And Luke, of course, as well. Looking forward to your conference then now, Andy. I'm really looking forward to that. Should be really good fun.
Yeah, it's not long now. Yeah, it's coming up. It just comes so quickly each year. You set it up and you get things going, and all of a sudden it's shooting back round again. But yeah, it is something. I always enjoy it, because I learn I learn from other people, and sometimes I learn from the attendees just as much as I learn from the speakers, who are usually offering something quite specific about how you can help your business, and you know, they're really amazing. But just chatting with the attendees and sort of getting to know their business and what they're doing, there's always just a golden nugget where someone just says, "Oh, you can do this, this, and this." Then, you know, you can do that. So, oh, I did not know that, you know. And there's just so much in our business that can improve things. Just spending time with like-minded people is always a pleasure, and I always get so much from it. So yeah, I learn a lot from everyone, from the speakers and from the attendees. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure.
100%. I couldn't agree more, because this is great. It's great doing this through YouTube and looking at YouTube videos and things, but it's when you're in person and you're having a one-on-one conversation, or you're around the circle and you're talking about each other's stories and experiences, and what works and what doesn't work, and that's when you really get. I mean, we had some guys yesterday that were leaving with like 15 pages worth of notes. You know, that's just like from just to be here for the day. So fantastic. But yeah, Noha said she's got one last question.
Sure.
How do you find an ASIN for a product that is a variation that's out of stock? How do you find the ASIN for a product that is a variation that's out of stock?
Good question. Yeah, I've done this before. I'm just trying to remember how I did that. It did take a bit of detective work. I can't remember what I did. And I did have that issue, Noha, and I got it. I can't remember is the answer. I pass. Do you know, Kev?
I'm just having a quick look to see if I can find a scenario.
I've had
But
exactly that issue.
I'm just
Oh,
having a
just
quick look.
trying.
If you guys are in the chat and you've got a simple sort of there, here we go. Luke's put, click on the variation. The ASIN should be on the web address in the title. I think that's what
Ah, well
I was
done.
just about. Yeah, I was just about to check that.
Hmm.
I was actually just about to check that. I'm going on to some trainers and just
Yeah,
having a look if the ASIN actually does change if you're
yeah,
going
the
on
different
to if you're
variation.
clicking on the different variations, the ASIN in the URL is changing. So
Excellent. Yeah,
um,
well done, Luke. That's a good one. Yeah, I think I did it a much more long-winded way around of doing it, Luke, when last time I did it. But yeah, there's a few things that weren't listed, and I wanted to list them on some clothing, actually. Some I can't remember which brand, but some designer clothing I wanted to list, and it was the variations weren't listed, and it did take a little bit of going backwards and forwards. But it was probably about 2 years ago now. I really can't remember, but that's going to be a much easier way of doing it.
Yeah, well, I'm just having a look. We may have to confirm that, because I'm just on a variation now, and it will show like not available in the selected size. So in this scenario, it was if the variation's out of stock, and then if
Yeah.
I click on the item that's out of stock, unfortunately,
CAC not changing.
what's it doing? Uh, no, it's not actually clicking onto the one that's out of stock. It's
Oh, it won't
changing
let you
to one
click on
that's
it.
in stock.
Oh, okay.
Let me just have a look here. May have to have a play around with that.
The
No,
other
how?
thing,
If you, sorry,
the
go
other
on.
thing I was thinking, Kev, if you go onto list item, there's something in the back of my mind. If you do a list item and then either use the keywords, I think what it might actually then come up with a list of previously listed items via the ASIN. That's what I've got a foggy recollection in my head. If you go through, actually, you're choosing an item to list and then using maybe the keywords or even the main ASIN, then it may then give you the option, what about all these other ones, regardless of whether they're in stock or out of stock. I have a feeling you can do it that way, and that's how the way I did it, vaguely. But it was a while ago.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's it.
Yeah, try that as well, Noha. Maybe try and list it as you're creating a new listing, and then you can go down that road.
Yeah, yeah. That was a
It,
tricky question right at the end
yeah,
there.
you've got us going, Noha. Well done. That was quite a tricky one to do. Can't even find it through the main ASIN.
Yeah, and you can't click on the one out of stock. That's what
Mm,
I'm just trying to work it out here now. If there's something out of stock, if you go to click onto that item that's out of stock, you can't actually click on. You can click on it, but it's going to take you to something that's in stock.
yeah,
So
that sounds familiar. All right, well, maybe leave it with us. Maybe it was something we can try and figure out for next week. But I
yeah,
haven't. I've definitely done it now, and that it sounds something like what I've just suggested. But it was a while ago, and it was quite foggy that I did it. But yeah, I'm sure I could probably figure it out if I go back onto there and fiddle around. So maybe leave it with me, and we can get our heads together and sort it out. But something like that. It's all
yeah.
I can say.
But I mean, the I guess the answer to that would be if you never know anything on Amazon, I would just create a case on Amazon
Seller support.
and
Yeah,
just ask seller support.
yeah.
But that's a great question, and we will try finding out the answer to that definitely.
Yeah, it is a good one. It's good when we get stuck a little bit because it means it's worthwhile finding the answer because it does happen sometimes. So oh, they didn't know either. Good old seller support. I don't know.
Oh God, we're all in
Right.
trouble now.
Now we're really stuffed. I have a feeling you can do it. I definitely have done it. I just can't remember the exact path. They told me that you can't sell a variation that's out of stock. That's funny. Well, how do you get it in stock if you can't sell it? Sounds
Um,
sounds fishy to me.
that is bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. I think that's maybe some homework for everybody in the chat. We'll
Yeah.
have some homework for this week. Um, who knows the answer to it? Find the answer.
Yeah. There's a golden nugget on offer to anyone that can figure that one out for next week.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's wrap it up on that
Yeah.
bombshell, on that unanswered question. We'll leave it for this week, and we'll try again for next week. But as always, guys, thank you to all of you turning up in the live chat and hanging out with us. As always, thank you if you're watching again on YouTube later on, and thank you to the podcast listeners. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll see you next week on Monday at 7:00. As always, take care, guys. We'll see you soon.
Take care, guys. See you later.